Hi, everybody. It's Jeff and Brenda here with you from Just Ask Mentoring Series. We hope you're well, ready for another JAMS video today. We've got a lot we're really excited to share with you, so let's just jump right into it.
Four big things in our agenda this week. First of all, partnership agreements and checking in to make sure that they're working for us. Standards-based planning over one, beginning with the end in mind. Getting ready for the slump that many teachers experience in the next few weeks. And then lastly, being prepared for the holidays and the impact they can have on student learning.
So, we talked about partnership agreements in the August video, and given the time of the year it is now, it's time to revisit the whole concept. October and November, great time to check in. Those of you who have a partnership agreement already, it really is time to pull it out and take a look at it together. Those of you who don't have a partnership agreement, it's also a great time of year to create one with your mentee. Partnership agreements are key to your successful work with your mentee. It's about being clear what your focus is and how you'll work together, what your preferences are, what kind of logistics will help you keep your frustration with one another down to a minimum. Most importantly, you'll also be able to accomplish a whole lot more in terms of student learning. Now, as a reminder, partnership agreements work around three focus areas and checkpoints. Results, the focus of your work; collaboration, how you'll work together; logistics. There's also checkpoints to build right into your calendars. Now, you're going to be able to see a slide that has a few sample questions for you, just to get you rolling. What's the focus of our work? Is a results kind of question. What are our expectations of each other, or what are our boundaries? Collaboration kind of question. And then one for logistics. How and when will we communicate? There's that. And then there's this thing I mentioned called checkpoints. You need checkpoints periodically on your calendars just to be sure that your partnership agreement is working. If you haven't checked in with your partnership agreement, like I said before, now is the time, because it's all about continuous improvement. We can get better as a partnership, and we need to learn more about what's working, what's not working. How do we modify this partnership agreement? You can modify it all year long. In your monthly mentoring guide, there's a template, and the template's going to show you what it could look like. It's kind of a map. You can make it any way you want to, but you'll have a place to record some questions.
You know, Brenda, you and I have a partnership agreement that guides us, including when we meet and what we're going to do and how we're going to progress. And I think without that kind of a partnership agreement, this work would be hard, especially considering that we're across the country from one another, and we could easily get off track. Last month, we encouraged you to help your mentee employ a standards-based approach toward learning. We introduced you to the concept of the ovals, which is just kind of an affectionate way to describe standards-based education, also known as backwards design. These ovals align nicely also with the four critical questions of the professional learning community process. This month, let's take a deeper dive into Oval 1, which is the beginning of the standards-based planning process. What is it that students should know, be like, and be able to do? Before planning any activity, lesson, assessment, anything, we must first be crystal clear about the learning goals. While most new teachers have grown up in a standards-based environment, it still requires discipline to be clear about the learning goals before making any plans. You can truly help your mentee by making sure that they are very, very familiar with the state standards up front, and that they know what the local versions of the standards are. In your district, you might call them power standards or essential standards or priority standards. What you call them doesn't matter, but you want to make sure your mentee knows what those are. Without such guidance about those standards that are prioritized, a new teacher won't know which of the standards are the most essential, the center of the bullseye towards which they aim. Without your guidance, their instruction might miss that center. Beyond knowing what the local priorities are, it is important for you to help your mentee know what the learning targets and pacing guides are. This is especially true for novice teachers, but also for experienced teachers who are new to your district. In their previous district, they may have had a different pacing guide, different essential standards, different learning targets. They'll need to know what they are supposed to do here and now. Next month, we will highlight Oval 2. How will the students and I know when they're successful? But first things first, Oval 1. What is it that the students should know, be like, and be able to do? Make sure your mentee is crystal clear about the learning goals before planning anything.
This is the time of year where we're, as mentors, starting to really listen and watch for certain kind of stages that teachers go through. We're going to share with you some landmark research that has endured over time. Came originally from the New Teacher Center, University, California, Santa Cruz, and it describes the ups and downs that many teachers experience over the course of a year. Huge implications for mentors. We need to be aware of the stages and be ready to add the support that's needed. Now, I do think that some of the stressors that cause these shifts have changed over time, but it's still a reliable construct to help us predict the different stages in the life of a new teacher, even an experienced teacher in a new district or a new administrator. It really works for all of us that are going through a transition. You're going to see a graphic that kind of shows you the dip and the coming out of the dip, and that's just for your reference. I'll take you through the stages that you want to be ready for. When a new teacher is hired, they're usually in the anticipation stage. It's a sense of excitement and anticipation. They are eager. They're going to change the world, but sometimes they don't know what they don't know. And about 4 to 6 weeks into the school year, you may have noticed the survival stage showing up, where the mentee is really exhausted, overwhelmed, working longer hours. And you wonder, now, why did that happen? I think about pressures of parent-teacher conferences, grades, formal observation, first rounds of assessments, understanding a new curriculum, and maybe even their systems of management aren't working, the productive learning environment. Now you move into the third stage, or the mentee will, and it's called disillusionment. It's not long after that, and it's also known as the slump. Depending on when your school year begins, the year could happen in later October or November. And it's a time when the mentee can be disillusioned or disheartened, and you'll hear things like, "I'm not sure teaching was the right choice for me." Thank goodness the holidays come pretty quickly after that. And it's amazing, but after the holidays, the new teachers often return with renewed focus, renewed energy. Along the way, as you get into the spring, you'll want to watch out for spring testing windows. They may also bring some challenges you'll want to support your mentee with. But a formal stage that happens, it's toward the end of the year. And you're going to notice that your mentee becomes more relaxed, more reflective, and they're actually looking ahead to the new year. You might hear something sort of like 1 foot in today and 1 foot in next year. It might sound like, when I do this activity next year, I think I'll use journals and increase the reflection opportunities. They're thinking about current practice, but also with an eye to the future. The last stage is called anticipation. We started with anticipation, and we're going to end the school year with anticipation. Packing up at the end of the year, summer never looked so good. And next year holds great possibility. Be thinking about how you would support your mentee in this stage, in all of the stages. So Jeff's going to introduce to you a newsletter you might want to open.
Yeah, in this month's mentoring guide, there's an article titled, "I'm in the Slump and I'm Normal." It elaborates on the information that Brenda's already shared with us, and it includes, toward the end, some specific things that you can do if and when your mentee is in the slump. You can increase the frequency of your contacts via face-to-face interactions or notes in the mailbox or emails. Nothing like leaving a candy or a muffin on on their desk, right, as a little surprise. You should check on the balance in the new teacher's personal and professional lives without being nosy, but just kind of keep an eye out on things and engage in conversations that assure you that their basic human needs are being met. And the last little suggestion that I love is, how about making arrangements for you and the new teacher to have a cup of coffee with a second-year teacher who can credibly say that it will get better and that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I think it's time to mark your books. Well, let's use the 21st Century Mentor Handbook, the green book right now. You'll want to pull on pages 43 to 44, called Through the Voice of New Teachers, Messages from Mentors. Literally, these were collected as advice to new mentors from their teachers. Pages 68 to 83, more content for you, more understanding of the stages of development and questions you may be asked. So let's just stop with this piece and consider that the final word is teachers need to be reassured. They need to hear over and over that how they're feeling, what they're going through is absolutely normal, and it's going to get better.
The seasons are changing, and the holidays will be here before we know it. And depending on when you're watching this video, they may have already begun. First comes Halloween and the Halloween craziness and sugar highs. Then comes the parade of observances, including Diwali, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Navigating all of these holidays is tricky for the most experienced teacher. New teachers will need your guidance. Experienced teachers new to your district will need your guidance as well. They, having taught in other districts and schools, might be familiar with a culture different than that of the new district. Here are some reminders to help you help your mentor or mentee navigate the holidays. Know your district, school, and community cultures because they do vary. Be aware that the holidays mean different things to different people. Know your students and be aware of the things that we might inadvertently communicate to them during this time of year. Keep in mind that all kids may not be looking forward to the school break that you're so desperately awaiting. You know, we often say that the kids get crazy at this time of year, the holidays, but it's often a result of our relaxing or abandoning the systems and expectations that we worked so hard to establish so far in the year. We might actually cause the chaos. So resist the temptation to replace a standards-based approach with an activities-based approach. It's easy to lose valuable instructional time with those holiday-related crafts and activities. We need to strike a careful balance. We can have fun during the holidays and we can continue to learn.
So in closing, we do thank you again for supporting your mentee and doing all that you do for him or her, in addition to a myriad of teaching responsibilities you have yourself. Take time for yourselves. Enjoy the changing seasons. It's such a beautiful time of year. We'll be back next month with another mentoring guide and video.